needs, the most social needs,
Right.
the most unmet needs, whether that's access to healthcare, housing, living wages, good, well-funded education. But yet, instead of being provided any of these resources, we funnel all this money and provide them with only really one other thing, which is policing, surveillance, and incarceration. And that kind of gets to the crux of the long-standing abolitionist movement, which is,
Hmm.
perhaps less about removing policing and incarceration from the picture, which is, of course, foundational to the long-term vision. But it's more so about what do we need? What kind of world do we need to create? What kind of things do we need to pre-configure? What kind of things do we need to create and change to live in a society where the idea of policing, the idea of putting a human being in a cage is just outrageous to begin with, because we deal with harm, we minimize harm, and we focus on prevention in such a different way that is just completely different. To circle back to another thing that Dan mentioned, to drive home the point that the amount of people killed by police in the United States is completely disproportionate to any other country, and it's not like other countries are having the same problem. It's on a completely different level. Over 1,000 people per year are killed by the police, and this is just, after Ferguson uprisings in around 2014, the same thing. Over 1,000, over 1,000, over 1,000. Like,
So no real
there's
change even after those events.
there's been absolutely no real meaningful change. And with that, what Dan mentioned as well, a continued absolute lack of accountability to the point where we don't even track numbers. There's just another paper just came out to say that we don't know how many people are actually even dying in jails because nobody's mandating that we track it. It's just such a devaluation of the human beings that are affected by these systems. And so as soon as you can be deemed, marginalized and vulnerable, then it's easy to criminalize you. And as soon as you're criminalized, then you're dehumanized. And no matter, at that point, if you die, then you die. And what we're told is that it's actually your fault because, outcomes are based on individual decisions and not based on systemic issues, which is kind of what we're told in the American mindset, right?
Damn, Mark. That boy came to play today.
Dude,
Okay.
he is just popping off with the stats, with the numbers, with the papers. I'm just like, geez, I'm learning.
I told you. This is one of the smartest kids. My man's over here. He's dreaming in numbers. There's nothing on him. Amazing.
Yo, watch that lecture multiple times, and I'm still here learning a couple things. But Mark,
thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that you mentioned was that manufactured fear, right? And I think that drives a lot of people into believing that the police is kind of fundamental to keeping some type of control against crime. What are your thoughts on that? You said something very interesting on crime versus actual harm done.
That's a great point, right? And this, when you have all the data, when you have time to sit back and read a bunch of books and think about the evidence and blah, blah, all these things, then you can have a bit more critical analysis. When you're listening to all the people that are over-policed and their experiences of it, then it's you can kind of start to put together an analysis where you